Last lie. The lie of control. I brought this up in the last one. It's kind of like a foreshadowing. But your values dependent on whether you are in control. People who live under the lie of control often apply a lot of energy seeking to control others or the specific outcomes they care about. While they may outwardly say they want a life of faith under God or the Spirit's lordship, they have a pattern of taking charge, often at the expense of someone else's autonomy or contribution to a team. Like immature quarterbacks who make calls on the field instead of heeding the voice of their coach, leaders who live under this lie tend to micromanage others instead of following wisdom and empowering people with vision. Okay? So this is a symptom of the spirit of fear. And because of maybe trauma, because of things that have happened in your life, you feel like you need to be in control. And so you micromanage. You could be maybe insufferable with the way you micromanage things, but it's just you don't want anything out of your control. And family, that's a real thing. Where people really need, and I keep it real. When I started this faith journey, there was things God knew that would be hard for me to let go of control. And when I did, I was so, I didn't even realize how much of a control freak I was until that moment. And he showed me like, okay, yeah, like it was tough, but he was faithful. So it kind of encouraged me to continue to take these risks, jump off the diving board, because I knew he would catch me. And so, I realized over time, when you're walking in faith and you don't see the outcome, you don't see how this is going to happen. You have an understanding what God is calling you to, you have an understanding where God is leading you, but you don't see how this is going to actually happen. Your faith is tested and your need for control is tested by your ability to release that, relinquish that, and allow God to. So when I don't see the way, that's when your need for control is tested, right? So like if God is telling you to leave the job, and you know God is telling you to leave the job, or God is telling you to leave the relationship, or God is telling you to do something in your life, God is, first of all, family, God is not going to give you a second instruction. If he's called you to address one specific issue, leaving the job, leaving the relationship, leaving your hometown, moving. If there is something God told you to stop smoking, God told you to stop drinking, God told you to stop listening to this kind of music, God told you to stop doing this. If you are not obedient in that, God is not going to give you another instruction. Your instruction will be what he addressed. Everything else, he gives one step at a time. God's not giving you do this, do that, do this, do that. He's going to give you this, then that, then this, then that. You're obedient with this, and he gives you that. When you're obedient with that, he gives you this. Like that is how God works. Okay? He doesn't just, that's just not how he moves. There might be words you give to people in between. There might be little things but he is calling, when he's calling you to obedience and you're not being obedient, you don't hear God the way you need to hear God. God's called you to do something, you haven't done it, and you haven't made haste to do it, you can rest assured that a lot of what you're hearing is you. You can rest assured that a lot of what you're hearing is you. That's why you might be all over the place. One day you want to do this. One day you want to do that. One day you want to do this. That's because you're not hearing God. God don't change his mind. God's the same. If you're not obedient in one thing, he ain't going to give you another thing. Are we clear? So when it came down to control, I realized that when God tells you to let go of the job, it's not, I let go of the job when I get a new job. He's asking you to let go of the job in faith without a new job. I just had a conversation with a lady. She's like, I'm walking in faith. I'm like, okay, cool. So what you doing? Like, what area is it? And she said that God had called her to move. And then she said, I've been looking for a job, and she hadn't been able to get a job. And I said, well, do you know, I was like, I want you to be open. I've been saying this to her for Sunday after Sunday. God is leading me to tell you, God may not have led you here for a job. Right? And so she says to me, we end up spending some time together. And I kept saying, I don't know why I felt prompted to say that. But then the conversation comes in and makes sense why. She said, well, I had this thing. I went to the service. It was prophesied over me that God want me to go to school. I was like, oh, okay. Did you know that? She's like, yeah, it was confirmation. God had already told me that. And I started looking into it, but I was trying to get the job. And then I was like, see, look. That's the problem. God told you to go to school. God didn't tell you to go to school and get a job. Well, how am I supposed to do this and how am I supposed to do that? That's not faith. Faith is the evidence of things unseen. The confidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. That shows me that you still got your hands in the pot. Yes, I know that's worldly wisdom. I don't leave a job unless I have another job. I don't leave the relationship unless I have another relationship set up. Unless I have a plan in mind. Like that is worldly wisdom. That is not godly wisdom. And God's economy, that is where you realize I'm relinquishing control. I'm letting it go. I'm really walking in faith. You don't got another option. You're trusting God even when you don't have an option. That is real faith. It is evidence of things unseen. And so many of us have an issue with control, and it's oh wait, so you're gonna leave your hometown, and do you have a plan? Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go here? Are you gonna go there? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Sam? What are you gonna do? That's not faith. God told Abraham, go to a land I will show you. He had no plan. He had no roadmap. And when he hit the road, God started to bless him. When he hit the road and hit that pavement and said, okay, God, I got you. Say less. I'm on my way. Packed up everything. Y'all, they thought he was a prince. Kingdoms recognized Abraham, a mere mortal. And they were like, the God you serve, don't play. We're not playing with Abraham. People that would have wanted to, because he was wealthy, because again, God blessed him abundantly because of his obedience. But people were like, oh, no, Abraham different. Like the way his God don't play about him. We need to be friends with Abraham. We need to be friends with him. We need to send him fruit baskets, women, cattle. We need to send him everything because Abraham has the sauce. I don't know what God he served. I don't know who he prayed to, but we need to be good with him because his God don't play about him. His God don't play about him. And so again, that was Abraham wouldn't have been Abraham if Abraham didn't leave his land. Abraham would not have been Abraham if Abraham didn't leave his land. And he didn't know where he was going. It was to a land he will show you. We think God's going to give us the whole roadmap. No, God only gives us the first step, but it shows us how much we need answers. Us needing answers is an indication we need control. If there's anything you're unwilling to leave because you don't see the plan or you don't see the course, that's your indication you have a control issue. You need control. And you would rather have control than follow God. And that's an idol. It's a lie. That if I'm in control, I'm safe. And that's actually not true. because you can be in full control and not be safe. Safety is an illusion. Control is an illusion. An expensive one. We probably spend millions of dollars a year on control and safety. But if the heart attack comes, there's nothing you can do about it. We don't have control. We can't control what happens in the world today. We can't control when the ending of this world happens. We don't have control. It's an expensive illusion. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you guys. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, y'all. Let's not just be every once in a while. Let's become family, okay? Friends that are family, okay? Join my family today.